morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Very interesting discussion coming up now on Morning Barbados, where we'll be speaking with Mr. Ken Hackshaw, who's founder and president of Caribbean-Risk Management Academy. And he's talking to us about an upcoming conference, Mitigating Risk, Effective Risk Management Strategies in a Global Public Health panel discussion. There will be a number of experts who are going to be talking on a number of topics, such as identifying potential risks, assessing their impact, and the like. So let's welcome Mr. Hackshaw to the program. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Tisha, and how are you?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, wonderful. As we get started, as founder and president of the Caribbean Risk Management Academy, tell us a little bit about the goals and objectives of your organization.
Oh, okay. So good question. So the Caribbean Risk Management Academy was founded about 3 years ago. Its mandate is to increase the risk intelligence of Caribbean leaders, the constituents of the Caribbean, to offer workshops and programs to effect that outcome, and we have partnered, which has turned out to be such a beautiful thing. Partnered with the Cable Campus Hackshaw School of Business to offer an international certificate in enterprise risk management. We're in our fourth cohort, and it's proven to be very, very successful. So that's what CRMA is all about.
All right, so with your extensive background and experience in risk management, how do you perceive then the current state of global public health from a risk perspective, based on the fact that, you said that's generally your specific area of expertise?
Right. So public health isn't my area of expertise. Risk management is, and obviously there's risk in public health. If I could segue into the upcoming webinar a bit. Two of my colleagues, one Dr. Kirk Douglas out of Hackshaw School of Business, Biosecurity Department, and Dr. Ryan Paul from Holding Fitzgerald, a US-based company. The conversation around the convergence or integrating risk management into public health came up a couple of weeks ago, and it proved so beneficial that we decided, and I have to give Dr. Ryan Paul, the CEO of Holding Fitzgerald, much credit for this, for pushing it more into the global health space. He recognized, and he's an epidemiologist by trade. There's a need for more conversation around bringing modern day risk management into the practice of public health. And that aside, about a year ago, CRMA and KHBC, my other company, did some work with CAFA in enhancing their enterprise risk management framework. And as you should know, and all of the listeners know, CAFA is a public health organization. So public health institutions are like any other institutions, Tisha. They have risk onto themselves, and by integrating and aligning risk management with the mandates of public health, it's a win-win for all.
Absolutely. And I know as Caribbean people, sometimes we don't want to associate what we might think as something negative or negative thinking with what might be perceived as positive, which is public health or generally the health sector. But it truly is very important. Now, let's get a little further into some of the topics that will be covered at this webinar. I believe you referred to it that is coming up.
Right. So it spans all the good things and bad things that could happen within public health. So within public health, there is an element of risk management, but there's a strong focus on clinical risk management, and that's the nature of the business. But if one understands what global public health has to go through to effect its mandate. So a couple of the topics will be building resilience within the healthcare system, discussing future trends in global public health from a risk management perspective. And I think one that's top of mind for most public health bodies, the CARPHAs, the PAHOs, the WHOs, is financing mechanisms for early mitigation of global public health. Where's the dollars coming from? So whether it's government, NGOs, or private organizations, financing is always a problem. And so that's the financial risk element around getting public health to be more robust, more sustainable, more efficient, and reach a wider audience. So those are some key topics that will be discussed.
Absolutely. And you have some experts and professionals in various fields who will be delving into
Yeah.
these topics. If you want to talk a little bit about the experts who are going to be a part of the discussion.
Yeah, and so again, mentioning Dr. Rand Paul, the CEO of Holding Fitzgerald, who are the architects of this merger, if you will, of risk management into public health. So he's going to be on there. I'm going to probably mark up some of these names. Dr. Franklin is going to be there. Dr. Sifumber, all uh, prac- medical practitioners. I think I and Mr. Gayako will be the only non-medical folks on. And thanks for showing the slide. And it's an African 2023 themed event. Most of the experts there are out of the African continent, and that will then be transitioned into a Caribbean version, if you will. But you know, your the ambassador that was earlier on was speaking of the building of the relationship between CARICOM and the African continent. And as we all know, the African continent is going through a lot of turmoil right now that will then impact public health. And so it's a timely conversation. I invite not just folks who are operating the public health space, but anyone who benefits or has some sort of connection with public health by way of either a practitioner or a recipient, a financier, government officials to listen in. And let's see if we can have this conversation to enhance, improve the efficacy around public health across the diaspora and Caribbean and African nations.
Risk management and where it intersects with public health most certainly is a concern for a number of stakeholders. So governments, international organizations, private
Yeah,
sector, but certainly in the Caribbean context, there are many areas that we certainly will want to delve into because public health reaches into the realms of everything from hurricanes and natural disasters, which we are truly susceptible to as small island
yeah,
developing states. So, I
yeah,
mean, the conversation is really one which is meant to be and certainly will be, broad. If we look at it in the context of our world and our diaspora, there certainly are a lot of territories that are going through wildfires at this time and things of that
yep,
nature. So
yeah,
all of
yeah,
this, I would imagine, is what you're going to look to
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
pull together and cover during this
yeah.
webinar.
And you're correct. Maybe we should invite you to be part of the team on the conference. We got to connect the dots, and that's what enterprise risk management does. It connects those dots. And let me just share something quickly. In today's Financial Times, Tisha, there's an article that's themed "Invasive Alien Species, Plants and Animals Causes 423 billion dollars in harm to the economy." That's this morning's Financial Times, and that's part of public health if you expand it. And I'll quickly read a quote from the article. It says, "It would be an extremely costly mistake to regard biological invasions only as someone else's problem. The risks have global roots. The risks have global roots, but very local impact facing people in every country." And if Dr. Douglas is listening, I'm sure this is right up his biosecurity space. And that's an element of One Health, public health. And so you cannot disassociate or disaggregate. You mentioned disaster risk and wildfires because that does have an impact on global public health.
Absolutely. And even our neighbors in Belize, they have major challenges with that every single year. Everything from, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
agriculture to basic trade can be affected. So definitely is in our interest to be a part of it. I'm interested in kind of picking your brain as to
Sure.
how you think everything that's going on these days with technology will impact the way that we view risk management, disasters, and public health across the region and the world.
Yeah, and so interestingly, one of the giving ourselves some props here, taking a point of privilege. One of the modules in the program mentioned that CRMA partners with Sagco School of Business to offer the International ERM certificate. One of the modules is the role of artificial intelligence in risk management. And to touch on your question, um, technology is both a force multiplier in identifying and managing risks, and it's one of those common denominators that even if we think of public health specifically, um, technology is advancing the reach of public health. Um, and so, if you think of Africa, I read somewhere that the majority of the population in Africa has a cell phone, but they may not have access to public health. So, technology, by way of, as it's being done hugely here in the US, where you have health services being provided, I don't want to use the word electronically, but virtually, is one way to go. And so that topic of technology and the role it plays in public health risk management will come up. And thanks for bringing that up. So it's a thread that needs and will and has to move through or the multiple disciplines required to effect robust and efficient public health.
And we most certainly saw that in motion during COVID. Because
Yeah,
many people who could
yeah.
not go out to doctors, then they were able to do
Hmm.
virtual visits and so on. You really have me really thinking about the conference, and there certainly will be many
Join
exciting
us. Yeah,
places to
yeah, yeah.
go. It's coming up on Friday, September 8th, 6 p.m. Talk to us about the specifics of it, who you're targeting specifically, who can get on to be a part of it, and how they can do so.
Okay, so it's being offered via LinkedIn. So you could go into CRMA's LinkedIn profile, Caribbean Risk Management Academy, my personal profile, Ken Hackshaw, Holding Fitzgerald's profile, Dr. Kirk Douglas's profile, and you can access the webinar. It is for NGOs, government officials, public health, health officials, folks like your good self who wants to know more, who needs to know more, because public health, like risk management, is everybody's business. At some point in time, not if, but when will you be impacted by some event um, that can cause you to seek out or it will require assistance from a public health perspective. So, my profile on LinkedIn, Holding Fitzgerald, Dr. Kirk Douglas, or you can just Google the name of the conference, Mitigating Risk Effective Risk Management Strategies in Global Public Health, and it will direct you to the link for the webinar on September 8th.
All right, excellent. Founder and President, Caribbean Risk Management Academy consultant, Ken Hackshaw. Mr. Hackshaw, we look forward to gaining valuable insights from your expertise during the panel discussion, as well as all of the other panelists who will be a part of the presentation. And we wish you the very best. We certainly will continue to share more about it. Have a great day today.
Thank you. Good day, Tisha.
Morning, morning,